sure you don't have a block or something like that?
No, not yet.
Not yet? Alright.
I'll let you know when I have one.
Alright, thanks.
Well,
How does this work again? Where is MGS2? Is this the right one? Yeah. Can they hear us on stream?
All right, fantastic. So with me on commentary for this Rusty race is Pythonicus. How are you doing?
Hello. Ready to see these guys strut their stuff once more.
So yes, everyone, we have a four-way race between Drixq, Stealth Edge, StrafeMachine, Slade. They will all be running on European Extreme. All of them seasoned vets at this game, but they are a bit rusty. So this is going to be pretty exciting. No one knows how this is really going to end up. And I believe this is actually my first time commentating over a Euro Extreme race. So I have run Extreme, have not run Euro Extreme, but they're fairly similar. So, and Python, you've run European and Extreme in the past, haven't you?
I have indeed. In fact, the way I learned how to run it was through none other than Slade's old run, the 132 or 133 that's up on speedrun.com. So the strats these guys are going to be using, I'll be fairly familiar with. Though I'll be honest, I'm probably just about as rusty as these guys are.
And so these four will be doing their race through SRL to synchronize their times for their start times. And Stealth is switching his stream to 480p due to bitrate stuff, just making sure he can get his stream in, which I imagine is going to be fine. I mean, the displays are already going to be fairly small, so it's not going to be too much of a change in quality.
So Plywood.
Yes, sir.
I'm not sure how familiar you are with all of our runners and how they've done in the past, but I would like to pick your brain and see who you think will come out on top, considering each of these guys probably hasn't played within the last maybe year and a half.
I would say either Strafe or Stealth. That would be where I'm leaning to. Strafe has played this game on occasion on his stream, so I don't think he's like super rusty. I feel like Slade might be. I mean, Slade is a very talented runner, so he might be able to pick things up totally fine. And I think part of it is because of the unknown quality of what these runners are really going to go for. Are they going to go for the risky stuff? Are they going to like mess around with the other racers, or are they going to go for safe things? Knowing Strafe, I have a feeling he's going to go for like crazy, ridiculous strats, even though he's rusty. And I've actually not seen Drixq run this game in a race. I don't think so. So I am not sure what we're going to see from Drixq himself.
All right,
So I think there's a lot of unknowns here.
Yeah, definitely. So the way I see this is, I think the last time these guys raced was probably two or 3 years ago, something like that. And back then, it was a sight to behold. And I'm going to use some insider info or rather some insight. And I'm thinking that we're going to see an upset maybe from Drixq here, because he is, or at least used to be, a very, very consistent runner. And I have faith in my boy Drixq. Although I do suspect this will be very, very close. Like you said, Strafe is going to go for all of the riskiest stuff he can. Slade, also a very, very consistent runner. And we'll have to see how the Rust treats everybody, basically. But it looks like we're getting everyone all settled in. Everyone has their new game +2 save files getting ready here.
Look at all those saves that Stealth have. Look at all those saves. It goes up into like at least 50. Just pages and pages and pages of saves. This is how you know Stealth has like really combed through this game. Not only on extreme, but on normal as well.
Oh yes, he is. For those who don't know, Stealth Edge is basically MGS2's resident strat finder, or strat applicator would probably be better. So yeah, seeing all those saves is mind-boggling, but not altogether unexpected.
No, not at all.
So to answer some questions from chat, New Game Plus Plus, we use that. It serves dual purpose for European Extreme. So in the opening moments of the run, just when they get into the plant chapter, they're going to meet up with the bomb expert Stillman. And what the New Game Plus Plus save is going to do is allow them to skip through a couple of cutscenes that would normally take about a minute and a half to get through without being able to skip them. And it will also set the bomb locations in each of the struts to more favorable locations. That way, no surprises or anything.
The other aspect of this race that is could completely swing the results are the Ray fight. The Ray fight on Extreme and Euro Extreme are nothing to be trifled with. And if you mess up there, you're going to have to start the whole fight over again. And if things go poorly for everyone, then it could just come down to who gets finished with that first. So it's going to be interesting as we come to the end game, how that's all going to turn out due to that.
Right. Yeah. The bosses are quite possibly the biggest thing in European Extreme. Like, yes, the general routing is fairly difficult to pull off really, really well, but the bosses are where we're probably going to see most of our separation between these four guys.
And to even further that point, all these runners kind of grew up with each other in a sense as far as running this game is concerned. But their strategies, I would say, we'll probably see it will diverge quite a bit because this game really invites a lot of different strategies and approaches room to room.
Yes, absolutely.
So you guys got any tea, maybe your favorite beverage, maybe a snack, sit back and enjoy the show because we might be here for 2 hours or so, depending.
Yeah. For reference, of course, PBs mean nothing in a race, but for reference, the top times for European Extreme are about an hour and a half, a little bit over. So seeing something akin to about 2 hours on a race where each of the contestants is a little rustier than they would normally otherwise be is not entirely something that should be perhaps unexpected.
Do you have a favorite, Pythonicus? Going into this, who would you put virtual bucks on?
See, I've got the underdog vote, so to say, and that'd be on Drixq. But we'll see. We will see.
Yeah, we're gonna have to see how it ends up with Drixq. I'm very curious. Definitely, I'm very curious. So we're starting off the race, starting off with the tanker chapter. Pretty challenging part of the game. Because not only are you playing as a different character who just controls a little bit differently from Raiden Solid Snake, but there are some rooms in the tanker chapter that you have to be very precise, including the Olga boss fight and the guard rush later on. So it's going to be interesting to see how that turns out.
Yeah, absolutely. So far, everyone is directly on each other. Not unexpected with having just started out. Everyone looks like they're making it through the deck A rather smoothly. Oh, speaking of, actually, Slade unfortunately takes an alert there, having some issue getting past the guard.
And Drixq and Strafe doing the trank strat to hold that guy up. Stealth taking a shot. Thing is, though, it doesn't really matter if you take damage here because Olga one shot kills you no matter what your health is on Euro Extreme.
Yes, correct. And Slade, getting through his deck A, opts for the safer strategy of just taking the headshot from a distance, getting through there. Both Drixq and Strafe actually missed that distraction shot. There is a guard on the other side of the cafeteria that you can kind of blind aim and hit the wall to distract the guy. It doesn't really do much except for save a little bit of hit stun and some damage. And it looks like all three, Drixq, Stealth, and Strafe, have all managed to unfortunately miss that shot.
Yeah, you have to get that shot off at just the right time as you're crossing a chair at the table. And we're going to be seeing this little manip. I think Strafe might have it. Yeah, so if Olga moves to the left side, if I'm remembering correctly, left Olga. Is that
Yes,
right?
yes.
Left Olga? Right.
Yep.
I just want to make sure. If Olga goes to the left side, you can actually get her stuck into a loop when she's behind the shelves in the back. And we're going to be seeing Slade also go for this as well.
All right, it is looking good. Everyone, assuming Slade gets this last shot, which I feel like there he goes. So everyone's good through Olga. Everyone is past Olga, no deaths. aside from Slade's unfortunate business in Deck A. So now they're going to be heading back down through the tanker, and with the USP attained from Olga, they're going to be dealing with some Semtex sensors, using a distraction shot to get through the camera room on Deck C again. And Drixq actually almost missed that pack of SOCOM ammo, and that would have been rather unfortunate. But thankfully, he was able to get through, grab that on the second pass without getting spotted by the camera. Everyone fairly close together still. No one seems to be having any major issues since the beginning. Some fancy distraction shots with the M9 on the glass. Stealth Edge taking an alert, but that's quite all right. He should be in a good enough position to get out without taking a death again. So these guys are all heading into engine room, which is a very, very tough room. And if you don't get it on the first cycle, you're more than likely not going to get it on the second one either. Because the way engine room works is if you don't get it on the first pass, it actually changes how the room operates. So these guys have got to be very, very careful and very, very precise with how they move and how they act, so that they can skip a cutscene here where Strafe just passed for the guy repairing the entrance to the other side of the Deck B crew quarters. And a real simple matter just to take care of all the 3 Semtex sensors, no problem. Slade, unfortunately, taking an alert on the engine room. He's going to opt to take a death. And like I said, the second pass on engine room is not the same as the first attempt. So he's got to be very, very careful at this point. All right. Strafe moving through the hold 2. No problems at all. Using a sly little timing mechanism for a couple of quick punches to let the guard just pass by without any problems. Drixq, unfortunately, missed the timing and had to take out the guard, and he's probably going to, unfortunately, end up taking a continue here. Yeah, there he goes. Edge seems to be doing just fine through the deck 2. And Strafe is moving on to our second boss fight, the guard ambush or guard rush, and taking care of business, hitting all of his shots just fine, and Slade taking another death. Unfortunately, I didn't quite catch what happened there. He may have hit a Semtex from the looks of things. Thankfully, you can just continue back from the engine room at this point. No big deal. So Strafe's past the guard rush, and Stealth Edge just heading in. We'll see how he does.
We initiated development of Metal Gear Ray as a countermeasure to these.
Looks like he may have missed a couple of shots here and there, but that's all right, especially considering the rust each of these guys is probably undergoing. And we see from Strafe's screen, we got the ladder glitch first try, very, very nice. But gets caught by the guard next to the projector. That'll even things up a bit. Now Drixq is also in the guard rush, while Stealth Edge is just leaving. Now Strafe again with the first try ladder glitch. Gets the shot off on the guy next to the projector. But the hold up on the guy in the lower left actually gets him spotted. So that's another continue in the holds. Now Drixq is through guard rush while Slade heads in. Slade using a technique to try and halt the guard going across the hallway with the USP. Missed the M9 shot, which is rather unfortunate. he wasn't able to get the headshot. Thankfully, he had managed to actually hit the guard, so he does go down. Strafe still having issues in hold 1, unfortunately.
With Ray, the hundreds, if not thousands, of Metal Gears.
Stealth Edge has actually managed to make his way into hold 2. And Drixq is currently struggling with the ladder glitch, unfortunately. Strafe also in hold 2 now, while Stealth Edge moves on to taking photos. Now, Stealth Edge is going to be using what looks to be the 2-shot strategy, or the 2-spot, rather.
Some say that
Taking photos from 2 specific angles so that he can get all 4 photos, the Marines logo included.
the opposition from the Navy is
We'll have to wait and see how that pans out for him.
There is a lot of pressure.
Strafe taking his photos, and I believe, yes, Slade is just past the ambush. Now, Drixq, having a lot of issue with that ladder glitch, decides to just go for the drop-down strat and going to take the unfortunate ladder of shame. Looks like Stealth Edge's 2-spot camera worked out for him. So Stealth is our first contestant reaching the plant chapter. Drixq and Slade both moving through the hold 1. And it looks like Slade may have just pulled ahead on Drixq on that one. Meanwhile, Strafe got his photos done. He'll be heading into the plant as well. Slade getting a little hung up on the guards, but makes it through, is able to hold up that 3rd guy, no problem. He and Drixq are neck and neck at the moment, and Stealth Edge seems to be kind of not entirely running away with it, but he's definitely ahead by a fair margin. Slade taking his last couple of photos. Drixq not even like 2 seconds behind. And both of these guys should be entering the plant as well now. So in the plant, they're now controlling Raiden, and movement options kind of open up a little bit. Whereas Snake, you don't really want to roll unless you're coming into a loading zone or down the last few stairs in a set. Whereas Raiden, you want to be cartwheeling as much as you possibly can. So that's what we're going to see our guys doing most of the time, on top of some very, very tricky, very precise movement through these halls once they get out of the docks here. Stealth Edge setting up for the guard in the lower right, which will allow him, if he is able to manage, it'll allow him easy access up onto the elevator. And yeah, looks like he's got it, no problem. He's just got to wait for a sec for that guy to spot him before moving over to the center stack of crates. Now Strafe setting up for the same thing. And the basic here is that they're taking the guard in a chokehold, then letting him go, which will set them up perfectly to punch them in the groin from behind, because Metal Gear Solid 2 physics. Don't really question it. So Strafe also gets it first try, very nicely done. Meanwhile, Edge should be just coming up off the elevator and heading down into strut A. So the first order of business in the plant is actually making your way to strut C in order to go talk to Stillman. And that will set off the bomb disposal segment of the run. So now Slade setting up for that punch. And now Stealth Edge is heading up to AB Bridge. Now, I expect all of our runners to take the top path and just roll through the guard up there. Easy, safe way of making it through, no problem. And once they get into Strut B, they meet Pliskin. And that gives Bryden his first weapon of the game, the SOCOM pistol. So another small thing that the runners are going to try for in some places is to roll into codec triggers so that they are slightly further along than they would otherwise be by just running. Stealth Edge just did it not too long ago, coming through the back half of Strut B. So again, all of our runners loaded up a New Game ++ save file so that they can skip the bomb disposal tutorial from Stillman. Now you can, of course, do this on New Game Plus, but New Game Plus shuffles the bombs around a little bit, so it can be a little trickier for those who aren't prepared for it. So far, it looks like Stealth Edge is still hanging on to his lead, roughly about, I would say, 30 seconds ahead. Strafe bringing up in second, and between Slade and Drixq, fairly close behind in third and fourth. These guys are definitely keeping it very close, considering that none of them have played in a fairly long amount of time. Very consistent players, all four of these guys. All right, Strafe coming out of the Stillman cutscene block. Slade just heading in. And Drixq looks like he's falling behind just a tiny little bit. Yeah, he's more than capable of catching right back up. So our runners, as they're coming back towards the Strut B transformer room, taking care of that cipher. Just a couple of auto aim shots. Now, Stealth Edge is actually heading up to the second bomb, which is actually on the Strut A roof, hidden behind the fence. There's a guard in the way that they got to kind of really be careful with. See how Stealth takes care of it. Goes for the punch from behind again. Gets it. Strafe able to knock the guard off the AB connecting bridge. So no unnecessary alerts for him. Now, in the bottom of Strut A, Stealth Edge is going to be using something called Coolant Rising after a very nifty little distraction with a chaff grenade. And what Coolant Rising is doing is it allows him to rise from the prone position immediately instead of waiting half second for the animation to finish. He also takes care of that bomb from behind the pumps. Very nicely done. That can be a very specific positioning. So getting it on the first go is generally a very good thing. Meanwhile, Strafe, just coming in off the roof, going to toss his chaff, distract the guard, and he should be just about set to get through and defuse the pump room bomb. Taking a little bit of a a positioning trick to make sure he gets that bomb from behind. Slade, having some issues on the Strut A roof, decides to actually just, well, murder the guard. But that's all right. I don't think Big Boss was really on the table for any of these 4 runners going into this. So Stealth Edge looks like he made it out of Strut F without any issues. Now, Strut F can be a very, very scary place on European Extreme. We'll see Slade try and take care of it. He's going to use his coolant. Oh, he gets spotted by the guard, unfortunately, and has to exit out to reset the room. Which is a much preferable thing to have than going through with an alert on Strut F. So he's going to spray the guard in the face, go and grab the M9. And then he's going to come out of this room, hold the guard up, not bump into him, take a very, very, very specific angle around that corner, which unfortunately he wasn't able to quite get. And now Strafe has an alert in Strut F. He's looking like he's just going to take the death. Again, Strut F is one of the scarier rooms on your first pass in European Extreme, so it's not surprising. And Stealth Edge looks like he's going to take an intentional on his own up on the EF connecting bridge. Didn't quite catch what happened there. Meanwhile, Slade's actually caught up with Strafe in Strut F. Unfortunately, didn't quite get the strat, and he's going to have to take an intentional. Strafe looks like he's made it. If he moves quickly enough, he can grab that stun behind those crates, which he does. And Drixq is using a completely different strat. He's going to be trying to get this bomb through the crack in the wall. Very nicely done. And unfortunately, Stealth Edge had an alert going into Strut E. Has to continue there. Slade looks like he's got the strat for Strut F good. Just a matter of taking the bomb out and getting on out of there. Raiden can fall on the stairs if he tries and cartwheeling going upstairs, but not downstairs. So Strut E parcel room is a very, very timing specific room. You have to take out the guards and the cameras in a very, very specific order, or the fast strat really won't work, and you'll be stuck waiting for the bomb on the conveyor belts. Stealth Edge manages that one, and now he's going to be heading up to the helipad. Strafe looks like he's got the strat, no problem. Just a matter of waiting for the conveyor belt to turn. And Drixq also managing. Now Drixq took out 2 completely different cameras. That was a very interesting thing to see. I'm used to the players taking out the front 2 set rather than the one closest and then the one further down the hall. Looks like Strafe is having some issues, but he's got a backup in mind. So he's going to take out that guard from the side instead. And unfortunately gets spotted, which is fine. As long as he can catch this cycle on the bomb. And it looks like he's just a tiny bit too late. Yeah, just a little bit too late. He's going to have to come back for that. He's going to go up to the heliport instead and take care of the one on the landing gear for the Harrier. Or, unfortunately, take the intentional as the guards come in from the roof. What he could have possibly done there was, it would have gone through the door, since there's a cutscene trigger past that door, and it would have cleared the alert. I'm not sure if he remembered that, or if there's another motive for him trying again. Maybe he just wants to actually get the strat. So Stealth Edge going across the ED bridge, or DE bridge, whichever, doesn't quite matter. Drixq has managed to catch up into third place still. And Strafe just now exiting Strut E himself. Now, Strut D is another very, very sticky situation for these runners. They have to be very quick. Stealth Edge actually gets spotted by the guard up top. This could be very, very detrimental. I think he's going to have to take a continue here. Unless he can think quickly. Nah, he decides to go for the intentional instead. Which allows Strafe to catch right back up. They're both in strut D now. Again, they have to be very careful. They can't let that guy just atop them to spot them, or else it becomes very, very scary. Strafe managing to get through there on his first go. He's not quite done yet, though. He has to sneak past this guard on the lower left bomb. Drixq also getting spotted by the top guard. He's going to try and fight his way out of this, so we'll see how this goes for him. Gets spotted by 1 and 2. Takes them both out. Now he's got to contend with the third guy. Strafe looks like he's got all 3 bombs sorted. And Stealth Edge also on his way to getting the third done. Drixq taking things very, very safely, making sure that he doesn't get the alert here. However, he's going to have to contend with a bunch of incoming guards to checking the situation. So he's got to be very careful. Strafe is right on the heels of Stealth Edge, looks like. Maybe 10 seconds behind. Now, they're both using the box to slide past this guard without taking damage. And it looks like Slade having a tiny bit of issue still getting out of strut E, but he finally makes it. Now, Strafe and Stealth both back into strut C to make sure they get that last bomb and the B sensor. Did Stealth forget a bomb? I am not entirely sure. It looks like he may have. In which case, Strafe is actually in the lead, as he just took out the strut C bomb, and he'll be heading down to Fortune in the strut A docks. Yeah, if Stealth forgot a bomb, that's huge, actually. Now he's got to figure out which one he's left behind. Drixq grabbing sensor B. And Slade making his way diligently through strut D. Looks like he managed to avoid getting spotted upon entry. Now Strafe making that distraction look really easy on the guard in strut B. Now the runners have to be very, very careful here on their trip down to Fortune. Stealth Edge forgot his third in strut D, so he's taking care of that. He'll be right back on track shortly. But yeah, they have to be very careful heading down to Fortune, because if they have to take a continue, they start all the way back in the strut CD bridge, or sorry, DC bridge. Slade having to take a continue. I wasn't quite able to make out what happened to him. So Strafe making it down to the strut A docks. Edge taking another continue on the CD bridge. And it looks like Drixq is also going to take a continue on the AB bridge. So in just a few moments, Strafe is going to have his last bomb all sorted. And he'll be moving on to the Fortune fight. Now, the Fortune fight, there's a strat these guys are going to be using involving the SOCOM and some iframe of use involving cutting out a corner cover. And this is basically the one safe way to make it through Fortune alive on European Extreme. There's a few other things you can try to do, but it's much less scary to do the iframes, like these guys are probably going to be doing. So first order business, let Fortune take out that forklift, then immediately move to that box on the right side and go to town. Now these guys have a specific count they're going to be keeping track of for how many times Fortune shoots. And after that count, they move to a new position and do the same thing. Strafe looks like he's got the pattern quite right. Drixq, meanwhile, is heading down on his own to docks. And Stealth Edge finally has his sensor B and is making his way to Fortune. Meanwhile, with his troubles with struts F, E, and D, looks like Slade's lagging a little bit further behind. Still tons of time to make up the lag. So I wouldn't be surprised to see Slade make a very good comeback here. That all depends on how the back half of the game goes for him. So Strafe finished with Fortune just now. Drixq will be heading in shortly. We'll probably be seeing the same strat from him. And now Strafe will be heading up to the Strut E heliport to take care of Fat Man. Now, on the way to Fat Man, again, they have to be very, very careful. None of these runners really want to be taking any sort of damage on their way. And they definitely don't want to take a continue, since they'll have to start back at the elevator heading down to the docks. So they got to be very, very careful. Strafe is almost halfway to his objective, making clean work of it. Drixq employing the iframes. Looking a little low on health. He can't take a single shot here, so he's got to be very careful. Meanwhile, Slade is just about to make his way down the elevator, while Stealth makes his way into the Fortune fight. Now, Strafe actually takes a bit of a safer strategy, opting to take out that Cypher on the EF connecting bridge. So, Strafe with a quick distraction shot, a trank, and a roll through the guard at the top of those stairs makes it all the way to Fat Man without taking a single hit, making it look easy. So, Strafe is in a very good position to start the Fat Man fight. However, Fat Man is quite random and he can really screw you up on the drop of a hat, really. So it's all basically down to luck, more or less, on how Fat Man's going to treat Strafe. Drixq makes it through Fortune. Edge looks like he's also getting through Fortune fine, and Slade will be starting her shortly himself. So in the meantime, Strafe starting out Fat Man. They're going to be taking out that left side bomb first, where Fat Man will crowd onto that right side bomb. He'll shoot his skate, take care of the bomb after a shot to the dome. Then after the bomb is disposed of, take another shot to the dome, and then rinse and repeat. Just take his skate out, 2 shots to the head. And now here's where the randomness really begins. They want to stick on him like glue and not let him go anywhere. And if they're quick enough, they can actually manage 2 M9 shots per cycle on knocking him down. And they've got to also keep a very close count on their ammo, because it takes 6 SOCOM rounds to knock a Fat Man down. And the main reason they want to stick on him and knock him down as much as possible is so that he doesn't lay down any more bombs. Him laying down bombs can be very, very troubling, especially if these runners forgot where some of these bombs can be. So Strafe keeping very, very close to Fat Man. Missing a few shots here and there, but that's okay. As long as Fat Man doesn't get away and start causing trouble with bombs, he should be okay. Grabbing another pack of SOCOM ammo. Again, he wants to keep a very, very close track on that ammo counter. It takes 6 shots to knock him down. He doesn't actually have enough for another knockdown, so he's got to grab more and make sure he doesn't quite lose Fat Man, which is it's a troubling prospect, really, since Fat Man has the ability to just move so fast. So it looks like all of our other runners are having a little bit of an issue actually getting up to Fat Man cleanly, while Strafe, first try on the Fat Man, had a little bit of an issue with his M9 shots, but ultimately makes it through without even a second set of bombs, which is exactly what you want to see in a Fat Man fight.
Yes, and I'm back. It's very dangerous when Fat Man lays down bombs on Euro Extreme, because potentially he'll lay down so many bombs that you really won't have enough time to deal with the situation, and that would be a game over. So the fact that Strafe got through it as cleanly as he did, yeah, he did miss some M9 shots, but he kept his cool, picked up SOCOM ammo when he needed it, and covered himself safely. It looks like Drixq is coming up to the heliport now for his turn with Fat Man. Strafe going through one of the longest cutscene sequences in the game. I think it is actually the longest cutscene sequence in this game.
It's a tie between that one and the outro before Solidus.
Okay.
I think Solidus might actually be just a little bit longer.
So I think we're probably going to see a similar approach from Drixq here with Fat Man.
Yeah.
The important thing with this fight really is the start and being able to stick to him after you defuse the second bomb. Letting him get out of your sights is where things get really dangerous, and then you're going to have to rely on audio cues to keep him in check. Because as long as you're doing damage to him and staying on his heels, he's not really going to be able to plant bombs. But with enough time, he will start planting bombs. If he ever does plant a bomb, then what you really want to do is prevent him from continuing to plant bombs. And the way to do that is just to knock him down to the ground. And if you do that, he'll just detonate, or not detonate, I guess start the timer for the remaining bombs while shooting at you with his little Uzi, which is a much better thing than having him plant 4 bombs in various places.
Yeah, the really scary thing about Batman is that he can actually, I think he can plant up to maybe 7. I think I've only managed to see 6, but I think he can plant up to 7, which is a really hairy mess. So we got Drixq and Slade, both, well, Drixq is finished with the Fat Man fight, and Slade's not too far behind here. And Stealth Edge looks like he's still having a little bit of trouble making the trek over to the boss.
Yeah, and the issue is whenever you die going to Fat Man, you have to start all over from the beginning of the timer when you're coming out of Fortune. So it takes a little bit to get back, especially if you fail, EF or at the bottom of strut E. It can be a real hassle having to come all the way back. It's kind of like dying on Rays.
Yeah, in a way, it is equally as punishing, and I'm not entirely sure which one I would consider to be more of a potential detractor from your focus, since in this sequence where you're running towards Fat Man, it can be very, very easy to lose hope. You get disheartened since you have to make that run, whereas on Rays, once you get there, you're there, and you just have to execute.
The reality is that all of these runners have held themselves to a really high standard as far as their speedrunning goes. So it can be sort of mentally fatiguing to hear and see that game over, especially like going to Fat Man or anything like that.
Yeah,
Because
absolutely.
That time loss really adds up, and you can't let it get to you when you make those mistakes.
I think these 4 guys, I think I think their plan heading into this race was to just take it easy, you know, just hang out with the guys again, have a good time. So I don't think any of them are getting terribly upset with their performances so far. I mean, honestly, I wouldn't. Being past Fat Man 35 or so minutes into the run, nothing to sneeze at. Now, Strafe is actually in the hostage room, and he got some wicked bad luck on the aims, but managed to make it through on the second try, I believe.
Stealth having a little bit of a close call with that bomb. It's only 5 seconds away from detonating.
King.
This is
Yeah.
why having second plants on Fat Man can just be a huge disaster.
And another thing worth noting on the Fat Man fight is actually, if you knock him down and he collides with a wall, there is a very high likelihood he's just going to start bouncing all over the place. And that can really screw with your aim.
Yeah, we typically... Oh no, he got skated into. That's
Oh,
Thankfully, he does not have to respawn all the way back to the elevator. He's going to respawn anyway. Yeah, we want Fat Man to stay at the top of the helipad in the open area because when he falls, he's not going to like bounce off into another row or column with the crates. It should be pretty expected in how you track him in that way, rather than him being able to make turns and all that crazy stuff. Something about his model and how it interacts with the
No, this
boxes.
isn't happening. Jack, you have to answer
sometimes
me.
he just, like,
Jack!
pinballs
Jack!
off them. And it can be a real hassle since you're trying to get 2 shots off him. One when he lands on the ground, and then another when he has the stars above his head.
yeah. So Strafe coming out of the Shell 1 core. Taking out a couple of ciphers in his way.
Come in.
Actually manages to
Right.
set off a claymore.
Right.
Now, that's something I don't think I managed to comment on the first time seeing EF Bridge, but that bridge, tons of claymores all over the place, and if you're not careful, you can and will just end up flopping right on into one. And on European Extreme at 2/3 health, that's a continue.
Yeah, EF Bridge is probably one of the hardest rooms in the entire run. I think that's pretty safe to say, fair to say.
Oh yes, absolutely.
Oh no, Stealth getting jet set radioed again by the Fat Man.
Yeah, that's a real unfortunate, and there's nothing you can really do about it. Either you can't really stop him from just rollerblading straight through.
I don't know how Strafe is going to handle this. This is a bit of a bad situation. I think he's just going to take the game over.
Yeah,
What the hell happened?
probably for the best,
Right.
honestly.
Right in.
Now, Drixq employing something we've seen, rather, I've seen a couple of the runners do this up to this point, but Drixq using the AK to kind of punch these guys in the throat. Strafe just doing it there as well. That's an instant knockout if you can manage it.
Drixq tranking all 3 of those guys. Not too bad at all. You really don't want to get spotted there by that riot shield guy, because that is the backup unit, and if the backup unit sees you, that is an automatic alert. Whereas the regular patrol guards, they have to call it in. So you got to be careful about that. On top of it all, if you ever see that red exclamation mark, what can happen is that the guard will pull out a pair of binoculars, and their range just It might as well be infinite. Like if you're in sight lines of them and they pull out the binoculars, they're gonna spot you.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Drixq cartwheeling that guard right through the door. And
So we-
StrafeMachine coming into the connecting bridge, and we're coming up into the Harrier fight. But before that, we have to shoot out these bombs, and there's more bombs on extreme than in the normal difficulty. I think it's like around 4 more or 5 more.
The sensors, there are 3, I believe. There's one hanging on the little walkway railing off on the left side towards the flag. Then you got the one beneath the center pillar there, and you've also got one to the right side of your starting location.
And the other one on the other cipher.
Oh yeah, true. So 4. You're right.
There we go. Gotta keep you in check, man.
Yeah.
These cipher ones are the ones that scare me the most. I always do them first. There is faster and slower approaches, but it can be very scary shooting those ciphers because they're moving targets potentially. And if you just hit the tippity top of the cipher's crown, it's gonna blow it up.
Yeah. And that's a real heartbreaker when you see it too. Absolutely.
So Strafe coming into the Harrier fight. We're going to see what kind of approach he takes. I'm assuming he's going to go for the 5-shot start. That is the fastest start that you can take. And looks like he got it. Nice. So
Yeah.
the whole goal of that is to shoot up in the sky after the first 3 shots. And you'll hit the Harrier as it's going by because it's completely predictable what path it takes. And then take another shot when it's flying over the strut you just came in on. And now we're going to see Strafe go for a little tricky shot here from underneath. Let's see if you can get it.
And he had to he had to reposition himself. Normally, what you want to do is when you know he's going to do his cluster bomb phase, is you want to be like stacked up against the crates on the bottom side of the screen. Now he had to unfortunately skip the cutscene a little early, and that cutscene is what allows you to take a very strange looking shot. Because for some reason the stinger will continue locking on even though there's a cutscene playing.
Again, exploiting the invincibility frames of popping out and shooting, which is very welcome here with the Harrier missile spam, which is faster on Euro Extreme. Also, if you get hit by a missile on Euro Extreme, you're just straight up dead.
Yeah, generally. So, Stealth Edge finally making his way out of the Fat Man fight, finally able to get that good luck, and while all the other fellas are tangling with the Harrier. So Stealth has some ground to make up, but he's still in it. Believe it or not, he is still in it. Anything can happen with these guys.
Yep, like we were saying at the start of the run, the Raze fight can really, really swing things, depending, because if whoever's in the lead at that point messes up, that gives ample opportunity for other people to take the lead. And that's not even speaking anything to Tango 2 or Tango 1. So the final act of this game can really be a nail-biter as far as speedrun races go.
Yep. So Strafe, first in, first out on the Harrier, makes his leap of faith just fine. We got Drixq and Slade fairly close together. And again, Stealth Edge should be now making his way towards the Shell 1 core after a quick detour into the Strut F warehouse to grab an AK to complete his disguise.
This little part right here that Strafe is doing, it's very important to get your movement very efficient here. And this is because you only have so much time to climb up that ladder before those two guards will spot you. And we like to cartwheel into the ladder, and then you can just mash triangle and then immediately climb up it.
Yep. It's the small little optimizations that kind of show you the caliber of runners these guys are. Even though the execution on some things may be a little sloppy, you know, seeing them at least making the small optimizations despite that shows you where they're at mentally. And did Drixq just actually miss? He missed the leap of faith. That's it's actually surprisingly easy to do. So, I mean, it happens to the best of us.
Yeah, I can attest to that. This part of the run is when I was running extreme, even when I was running normal, this would be like my typical place where I would make big mistakes, like missing that jump or messing up my movement for these two guards. This part of the run, from aims to meeting up with the president, is not easy. I mean, thankfully, after we rescue Emma, things get a little bit more relaxing and slower paced, but most of this run has a lot of challenges to it, which you would have to expect from these Europeans playing European Extreme.
Yeah, I believe someone in chat earlier mentioned they think the winner's going to be the most European. So I guess we'll see who qualifies as the most European after the race.
So is it like your second most European, third most European, and least European?
Well, in the case of Drixq and Stealth, they're both in the UK, so I'm not sure how that would work out in the first place.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, that makes things a little bit awkward.
So Strafe makes his way nice and quickly through the first swimming segment, grabbing his Nikita missile launcher so that he can take out the electrified floor and not be bacon.
I have a feeling that all of these competitors are going to be going for the swim glitch.
Oh, almost guaranteed. Almost guaranteed.
The swim glitch is something that Stealth, I believe, developed and discovered, where after you meet up with the president, you go back down to the basement that StrafeMachine is currently on, and you'll be swimming at a corner, and swimming at this corner while doing a certain set of inputs will allow you to raise yourself above the water line and swim out of bounds. And it saves time of having to swim through the whole section.
Yeah, it saves, I think, if I'm remembering this correctly, it's been a while since I've had it explained, but I believe it saves about 20 seconds if you get it on your first go. But it also loses 7 seconds to having to open a door later on. So
there's only so much time you can spend doing the glitch before it becomes not worth it. And unfortunately, Strafe messing up, I think he messed up a missile shot there. You have to be very careful with the Nikita missile in the vents. The path you actually take here is different depending on the difficulty.
I took these.
Yeah, and you'll see all of the runners are actually tossing a stun grenade before they actually shoot their Nikita, so that they actually wake up the president, who is sleeping in that room standing up. So they want to wake him up so that he is capable of actually moving and not straight towards your Nikita missile, preferably.
Yeah, the president, unfortunately, is a bit too curious about missiles and sometimes likes to investigate them with his face. It's not a good situation because we kind of need him alive for about 20 seconds until he dies. Spoiler alert. We just need to talk to him so he can tell us about the really important Illuminati-esque story going on.
All right, so we got Drixq managing not to nail the Prez with a missile. Slade looks like he's got it, and Strafe, meanwhile, is going for his swim glitch. Now, again, this, as Plywood said, this is a very specific kind of setup and set of inputs. Now, basically, they're trying to press the left direction in a certain rhythm to keep their nose firmly planted on that wall. And if they've got the rhythm right, they can rise out of the water like Strafe here, and just kind of clip through a fake ceiling. So not altogether bad from Strafe. 3 cycles isn't great, but it's not bad for having not played in a while. And now he's on to the vamp fight, which has we'll call it an interesting strategy. If you enjoy the game Punch-Out, you might like this one.
Yeah, the strategy here is a little bit similar to the liquid fight on Metal Gear Solid 1, in which you want to only do punches here, you don't want to do a kick. And essentially, you need to be close enough to Vamp that he'll continue to do his knife swing. By the way, that attack will kill you in one hit on European Extreme. And then just do double tap on him as he keeps on swinging. And ideally what happens is that you finish the fight with a kick, because the end animation of Vamp is faster if you finish the fight with a kick.
Yep. That being said, if you can't manage a kick, definitely try and just finish it in one cycle, as Strafe just demonstrated. Because if you do actually kick him before his health bar is depleted, he'll jump back in the water, and that can lose you anywhere from like 10 to 20 seconds, and it's awful. So Drixq also making his way pretty cleanly through Swim Glitch.
As Stealth Edge is trying to clean up these bombs. And Slade giving his attempt at the swim glitch as well.
Now Slade is back in Slade's prime. He was scary consistent at this, so I can't see this going too terribly poorly for him.
Yeah, it's sort of like you just need to find your rhythm again.
Yeah, and he makes it through just fine.
Out of all the things that these competitors were going to struggle with, I was not really expecting swim glitch.
Yeah.
When Stealth gets there, I would be very surprised to see Stealth have issue with that glitch. I mean, you can't mess up on your own glitch, right? Like if you're the father of a glitch, you brought the glitch in the world, you can bring it to the end of the world, you know?
So, looks like Drixq just finished up his vamp. Slade's just starting his. And I didn't quite see, but I think Edge just got his 5-shot Harrier start. So now Oliver.
See that? Slade kicked Vamp. I think that was a mistake. And you see Vamp run around like a maniac too.
Yeah, it can be very, very scary. Thankfully, Vamp doesn't really know what to do when you're hanging off the ledge like that, so it's kind of a safer place. But if you're unlucky, he can actually throw kunai at you, and that can be dangerous when your grip gauge starts getting low, because your grip gauge and your O2 gauge are directly proportional to how much health you've got.
You will grip the longest if you're at full health.
Ooh, Stealth Edge just actually he mistimed his iframes and has to continue on the Harrier.
Look at that kunai damage. You weren't kidding about that.
Oh
He
yeah,
went straight into bleeding. And Slade, unfortunately, going to have to take another try at this.
ooh. Stealth actually hit himself with a Stinger missile. You have to be very, very careful. You can hit that railing, and on European Extreme, explosives are one hits.
Your favorite explosives.
So, Strafe and Drixq are both now in the escort segment. It can be less than favorable sometimes, but we'll see how they handle it.
Yeah, there's kind of mixed feelings about this segment as far as this speedrun is concerned. I kind of like it just because it brings down the pace, and you have to consider your movement in a different way rather than cartwheeling all over the place. And we'll see what strategy Strafe goes for. It looks like he's just going to keep Emma long, and you have to be very careful there with your path going into the little wait area, because you could get spotted by a guard. And going for the elevator skip strat, and I think he successfully did.
Yep.
That's really good.
Yep.
So if you bump Emma and in a certain place by that staircase, you will skip a cutscene of a guard coming up the elevator you just came out of, which let's just put that aside, even though it doesn't make any sense that there was a guard down there. But
Yeah.
But not only does it skip a cutscene, it removes a guard from the path you're heading up into. So it's a win-win. But if you knock her improperly, you could actually knock her over, which, while that could be potentially funny, it's not good for time.
Yeah, and there's also a potential hazard for a soft lock on that bump, because if you manage to tap her just right, she can somehow manage to slip through the seams between the staircase and the upper level, and just kind of fall into the void.
Yeah. Who had that happen? Was it you or Tyler? Someone just
Tyler had it. Tyler had it happen on the staircase, and I had it happen on the way out. And Strafe is demonstrating something very, very interesting.
Yeah, the Thriller guard. The Michael Jackson Thriller guard.
Oh.
Maybe had a little bit too much fun. He's trying to salvage it.
Having a little bit of an issue with his menu, but
I'm
there
sure.
he goes.
I'm sure.
Are you all right?
I'm sure Emma will be fine. with that
Oh
one.
yeah,
Right.
yeah. So it looks like Drixq had some issues on his exit from the Shell 2 core with Emma there. He's just got to make that run for it. And he might end up taking either the continue on the bridge or, he's going to manage it on the bridge. Stealth Edge looks like he's in the back half of the Harrier fight. And so many S names. Slade is starting on his escort.
Death abuse. I think we might want to talk about that for a moment. It's a very useful little technique as far as recovering from mistakes in this game, because when you die, and typically the way we kill ourselves in this game is by dropping off a rail. When you do that and you continue, you're going to erase the alert you were under, and that, taking the time loss of dying sometimes it's just way more worth it than trying to recover from the situation you're already in. We saw, I think everyone use Death Abuse to reset a room when an alert was happening, but we just saw Drixq use it to remove an alert he had from the previous room. And so that's a really nice technique, especially if you're learning this game on any difficulty besides VE, because very easy does not keep alerts do not stick between rooms. If you're running this game on any other difficulty, though, it's a very nice technique to reset the situation and not have to do a lot of improv from room to room with an alert.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, Stealth Edge is able to get his way through the Harrier fight, which means he'll be heading directly into the Shell 2 core. Something worth noting here is that all of our runners are going for the PSG-1T in the swimming segment with Emma, so that they may tranquilize the guards in the path. This is strictly a big boss strat, but that being said, these guys, I'm assuming they all have it like firmly in muscle memory just to do it at this point for European Extreme, even though Big Boss is long gone at this point for each of them.
Strafe removing all the claymores from the walkway so Emma can safely go across. This section is essentially an auto scroller, but the thing is that if you make a mistake, like having Emma get spotted, she'll go into a fetal position and stop moving, and that is where you can lose time. So you have to try to take out all the guards quickly before they spot Emma, so that Emma can keep on moving. Same with the ciphers. Got to take out the ciphers so they don't start shooting at Emma, because you actually lose a lot of time if she ever gets stopped from an alert. It's like 10 or 15 seconds.
Oh yeah, it's significant for sure. And something else that can actually cause you to lose time is having Emma just drop. If you aim fairly close by to her, she has a tendency to fall over, and that'll lose you probably close to 7 seconds on its own, which we did actually see that with Strafe. He had Emma fall over on him while he was busy taking care of claymores. So we've got Drixq right alongside Strafe, maybe about 10-15 seconds behind, both doing the sniping segment.
Yeah, first and second place are very close. Very, very close. It's going to be pretty exciting seeing how the final act of the game goes. The thing is about the sniping section, even though you can mess up, as long as you know where the guards spawn, what order they spawn, and where the ciphers spawn and when they spawn, it's completely predictable. The only issue is Emma falling over. That can be a bit annoying, but otherwise, it's pretty standard, same old for the sniping section. Yeah. However, if Emma ever gets spotted and gets shot, that can cause some issues with Vamp 2, which is coming up in a little bit. You don't want to get Emma hurt too much, because that can cause a little bit of trouble as far as trying to take out Vamp in time before Vamp takes out Emma.
Right. So, Strafe and Drixq actually picking up their Pentazamine secondary packs on basically the same timing here. On European Extreme, there's only one extra pack of Pentazamine, plus the 4 you come in with after sniping out the Semtex sensors on the Shell 1-2 connecting bridge. So you have to be very, very careful about using your Pentazamine. You really, really want to keep at least one for the Vamp fight.
typically, if you're playing this game casually, your urge, I think pretty much everyone's urge is to shoot Vamp in his pretty boy head. But that is not actually what you want to do. What you want to do, seems very counterintuitive, is to shoot him in his weak point, which are his shins. And the reason why his shins are his weak point, it's because when he was a little kid, and he was in Romania, in the schoolyard, kids would come up to him and kick him in the shins really frequently. And so that would happen like day after day on the playground. And because of that, his legs are weaker than his head.
Yeah, it's a sad story for sure. Don't bully kids.
But seriously though, so the thing about the headshot is he has a little bit of a stun animation that knocks his head back, and this prevents you from just continuing to do damage to Vamp. If you shoot him in the leg, you can pretty much fire a full clip into his leg before he swaps Emma to the other side. So he takes the damage, but he doesn't have any animation.
Yep.
You'll see this in action.
Now, when they start the Vamp fight, the game will actually move your position on Raiden, so you have to take your first 10 shots and then move back to where the PSG-1 ammo respawns, which you just saw Strafe do very clean on his Vamp. And he is off into the final act into Arsenal. Now that's another nice thing about having sniping be so formulaic, is that it's a nice little rest before you get into the really, really heavy stuff in the run. So we're gonna see how Strafe and the crew handle it.
Stealth showing his child the swim glitch who's boss. So similar to the Fat Man section where you're running up to Fat Man with the timer on, if you die here, you have to start all over again from opening up the door, the little hatch. So it's very important when you're going across the bridge not to die, because you're going to have to recover, go all the way back. But Strafe had no issue there.
Yeah, it's thankfully a much shorter trip and a much easier trip as long as you've got a chaff grenade ready. Otherwise, you've got to spend some time with an AK and auto aim.
Yeah, the only issue that can come about is if your panels on the little bridge connecting to Shell 1 core are in a really bad pattern, and you forgot how the panels were set up, the panels that disappeared when you crossed from meeting up with aims, that can cause some issues when you're crossing that bridge. So I think most of the runners in this game, at least I do, I try to keep in mind what the pattern was on the panels that dropped for that reason.
You know this.
Strafe's sharing some hot insider info in the chat.
You've grown.
So Drixq, I remember when he first went through Strut E, I called attention to his strange choice in taking out the cameras, and he actually had to take care of the aftermath of that, coming back through it on this pass, taking out that last camera on the front side of the room. So very interesting strat that didn't quite pan out for him. Maybe he just kind of forgot, or any number of things could have happened there. So Slade looking like he's most of the way through sniping section now, and Vamp's last fist fight for the
They're bound to find
for the
you.
run
Listen,
coming up here
I'll
on
free you in a little
edge of
while.
screen.
Brace yourself.
And when you're on big boss pace going into Arsenal, this is very stressful due to later on we have a little bit of randomness in Tengu 2, whether you're going to get through that fight. Tengu 1 has fairly strict execution so you don't get shot too many times. And this first room, Jejunum, there's different approaches for this room, but the biggest one you have to make sure is just not to get spotted. Being naked makes you even more vulnerable than you already are on European Extreme.
Yep.
We're seeing Strafe actually go the bottom route on Jejunum here.
Yeah, and each of these forerunners, I'm fully expecting each of these guys to take the codec call upon entering the room on the first frame possible with a buffered input, and that'll allow them all to just cartwheel across the first guard's sight line without getting spotted.
Yeah, if you hold select going towards certain codec calls in this game, not all of them, but some of them, you can open up the codec at the earliest possible frame, just as Pythonicus was saying.
All right. So this is probably the most separation we've seen between any of the any two runners. We've got Strafe heading into the ascending colon. Drixq just starting the Jejunum now. Slade is making his way towards the Shell 1 core to get into the Arsenal gear. And Stealth Edge is still trailing behind a little bit, is just starting his escort section. And there is still time for Stealth to make his way back up into the ranks. And the importance of a good Ray fight cannot be underestimated, or rather, the importance of a bad Ray fight, more specifically.
Fortunately, the strategy Drixq was going for did not quite work out for him. That Tengu kicked him right in the face
Yeah.
with a roundhouse kick.
I might be mistaken, but I think Stealth Edge just actually skipped grabbing the PSG-1T there. I don't know if he's planning on going back for it, or if he just decided against it.
Oh, he's
No,
like
he's
going back.
Yeah.
Wait, huh? Okay. Yep. I was like, man, that's some true competitive spirit. He's like, you know what? I'm not on Big Boss anymore. I'm just gonna kill these fools. But nope.
He's playing fair in the spirit of the way everyone else has, at the very least. So Strafe and Drixq now both in the ascending colon. Well, one entering, one leaving. There's not much that these guys can do to speed this up. It's for the first section, you got to take 6 codec calls, and for the second section, you just kind of have to wait around a minute and a half or so. And as long as you've swung the sword once and moved forward a step, the game will move forward on its own accord.
So Strafe in Tengu 1 now. Very important to throw your stun grenades at the proper time so you can stun these fools. And then doing the little door glitch here. The way to do that, see if he can save it. Oh, he's not getting his aim knocked off. There's like one more try at this. Aw. So the whole goal of that glitch is to, when the kick goes on, is to get out of first-person view. So you start a combo in first-person view, and then you end the combo by going out of first-person view. And leading up to that, You need to throw a stun grenade into the middle of that pack. Use a box to lower your stature, and then run by these guys.
Something also interesting to note is that Strafe is going into this with a total of I think it's, what did I see, 3 stuns, and that is really, really risky. You can have up to a maximum of 6 stuns going into the Tengu 1 fight. And you don't have to, but most people will use 1 to wake up the president, which means you have 5 for the Tengu 1 at max, which is most people's preference rather than keeping on with the 3. But Strafe going with the difficult things as he is wont to do.
Strafe looking straight up at the ceiling, wondering why, God, why? Why did it take me so many tries?
That has actually allowed Drixq to potentially catch up here. He is coming in here with all 5 stuns possible. So he's just got to kind of dump stuns all the way down the hallway, and he makes it through clean. So, Tengu 2. You want to explain it, or should I?
I think it'd be better for you to explain this, since I've never actually done this strat. I've only done the Sons of Liberty strat, which is a lot easier and less annoying than this.
Alright, so to start the fight, they're bumping through Snake a couple of times and unequipping their SOCOM. They're going to directly punch and then take hold of the Tengu on the bottom right. Now what this is going to do for them is this is going to set something up to skip the entire fight after about 30-40 seconds. Now the way this works is they're going to take hold of that guard and they're going to drag him where Strafe's got him right now, in the bottom left of the antechamber, into that circular room. And you have to count how many times you've choked this guy, and you have to be very, very careful not to choke him too early again to reset your hold on him. And there is a very specific count. It's dependent on if you count the hold itself or just the regrabs. But it's 9, let go, grab him again, 3, and then let go, regrab. And if you've done it properly, and if Snake hasn't died by this point, as you can see on Strafe's screen, it just skips the fight completely. And I still haven't heard an explanation for why it works. All we know is that it works, which is incredibly strange.
Fire, creating the perfect assassin to retire. Solid Snake's
Yeah, I don't even want to speculate. it's so weird. That's why I'm like, it's one of those things that it works.
Solid Snake.
I figure it's got something to do with maybe an integer overflow of some sort. Maybe the game isn't actually expecting for one Tengu to live so long, or something to that effect.
I'm sorry to
yeah,
see
it could be
reduced to
something
one of
along
the
those
Patriots'
lines.
puppets.
The only risk regarding
made
this
use
strat
of you.
comes
And
in
their
from
plan,
Snake,
too.
and that's because sometimes Snake
Solid
decides,
Snake's sudden appearance,
I don't feel like
arrival.
using
It
my
was obvious the
full
Patriots
auto
were among my
assault
ranks.
rifle. I'm going to use my
I had to smoke
USP,
out the agent before the mission entered the
and
final phase.
that
You came in handy as
causes
bait.
him to be much more likely to die,
Jack,
since he's
those
handling
days
all the
during Civil
Tengus on
War
his
were
own
as real as they come.
while you're choking that guy in
Every
the
day
corner.
was absolute. Split
Yeah.
between life and death.
So while both Drixq and Strafe are getting monologued at, we got Stealth Edge just starting into the sniping section, and Slade doing some fancy footwork over in the ascending colon. Now for the Ray fight, it's the first part of Rays is very scripted. We want to take out the center, then go to the right, and then go to the left, each taking a knee mouth combo for maximum damage. And after 3 of these combos, the guy in the center will hop up on stage, and that's where the real fight actually begins. And it's a juggling act, more or less. You've got to be very, very careful managing the attacks you're receiving from up on stage and from off stage, because the guys off stage will oftentimes try to send rockets your way, which home in fairly accurately if you're not moving. There's just a lot of different strats that people have used for this fight, and I'm sure each of these guys has their own preferred method.
Typically, the safe method to do on Extreme is to stand, I think, sort of around where Strafe was, around an ammo box. You can be closer to the tanks. You can be closer to the rays or further away. But you want to try to hover around ammo boxes in case you run out of ammo. And the big thing, just like Python was saying about juggling, so not only are you juggling each of the rays and trying to make sure that they don't just keep on forcing you to dodge attacks, which is just a huge waste of time, but it's a juggling act of the ray on stage. You don't want to go too far away from the ray or let him get too far away from you, because at that point you may send the knee missiles at you, and those are really dangerous. Very, very dangerous. It's the worst attack that they can launch at you. You would much rather have the laser or the machine gun. Now, with Strafe's health situation, any attack would kill him, I'm pretty sure.
Anything but a machine gun burst.
Oh, machine gun burst will still... Okay, good.
Yeah, because he's wearing the body armor.
Yeah, it'll just put him bleeding.
Yep.
But it's preferred to have the machine gun burst or the laser over the knee missiles. So not only are you trying to juggle the rays off the stage so that they're not launching missiles at you while you're dealing with the ray on stage, you also have to manage your movement with the ray on stage, mind your ammo count, and have the situational awareness of which ray is close to dying, which ray needs to be shot first, which ray needs to be shot next, etc., etc. Another little fun trick with this fight is sometimes the rays will serve you a battle cry, and if you time your shots properly, you can actually get a full damage shot on the mouth while they're doing that little battle cry.
Yeah, it generally happens either when they just jump into the fray, or sometimes they'll do it after you've actually shot them once already. It's up to them. Like the one where they've just jumped into the battlefield, that's pretty much guaranteed. You'll always see them open up their mouth. But any other time it's pretty much RNG. And there is a much riskier strat for dealing with rays, which involves dancing super, super close to the guy on stage and just baiting out the water cannon time and time again. Again, it's really risky because that water cannon, even if you're at full health, I think that thing will one-shot you.
Yeah, and you also don't want to get so close that they give you the stomp, because of course if you get stomped, that'll one hit kill you. But on top of it all, if you're just out of range of getting killed, but in range to get knocked down, that could kill you as well, because you're on the ground, and if there are missiles flying at you, it's over. You're gonna stand up and get hit by missiles immediately.
It's not a laughing matter when it happens to you, but sometimes, in some circumstances, it can be a bit of a laugh.
Oh yeah, it's the cruelty of this fight in action. This fight can be very unforgiving. If you can maintain your rhythm, just to use that juggle analogy again, just like with juggling, you have to maintain a certain rhythm with your throwing. In this fight, you have to maintain a certain rhythm, and if you get thrown off that rhythm, you have to recover back into that rhythm, or else it's very likely you're going to die. And you have, is it over 20 rays you have to deal with Python?
It is 20 rays worth of health bar. You don't have to necessarily destroy all 20, just as long as you've done the damage equivalent. Now, usually this means you'll end up killing 18 or 19, and then with the separated damage from doing your juggling act, you know, it'll probably end up being that your kill count at the end be 18 or 19. But yeah, it's kind of strange how they coded the fight, but it also makes sense, I suppose, in a lore standpoint, if you're one of those kinds of guys.
Well, I think it makes the most sense on very easy. You just take out like 3 rays, and then Ryan's like, it's no use. I'm tired, man. This is ridiculous. So,
Strafe is into the D series rays, and that means he is very, very close to the end of his fight. Each letter series has 5 rays to its name, and seeing Strafe at DO3G means he's probably got another 2 left to go, 2 or 3. And Drixq, not that far behind. He's got DO1 and DO2. Whereas,
it comes down to Strafe's end execution, man. It really does. And
yeah,
people have died on that last ray. It does happen.
I don't want to talk about it.
We don't really want to like jinx anything or anything, but
So that being said, dang it, Slade is also in the ray fight, and looks like he's doing more or less the same kind of strategy as everyone else, just kind of keeping the middle ground, trying to bait out the arm cannon while dealing with all the extraneous outside influences.
And Python, how would you describe the kind of focus you have to put on for this fight on Extreme?
So, I would say that you have to at least maintain about 85%. 85%, you can be distracted here and there, but as long as most of your attention is glued to the rays,
yet, Jack?
you will more often than not make it out.
The Arsenal AI is corrupted beyond
on
repair.
top.
I admit that I underestimated
Like, I know these guys in particular, they happen to be in a call with each other, I think, at the moment. So their attention is a little split. So
squeeze the answers out of you
seeing
instead,
Strafe
my
and Drixq both
son.
get out of there on their first attempt is very, very good. So now they're both going to be tortured. On the HD collection, this is a standardized, I think it's like 13 or so seconds. So nothing these guys can't handle.
What do you hope to hear? You know he
Yep,
doesn't
there was 65-second long
It's not
torture
him
for
I
us,
want the
thankfully.
answers from.
Drixq is going to be taking a little bit of damage. His mashing speed isn't quite up to what it used to be, perhaps. But he does make it out of the torture alive. And that, in the end, is what matters.
Agreed, friend. Stealth now in Arsenal. The final act. And
Yep.
Slade making his way through the rays, now entering into the seas.
Yep. So with Drixq and Strafe both heading into Solidus here shortly, it's probably a very good time to mention the sort of strategies we'll be seeing from them. There are several kind of loops you can use. I believe the one these guys are going to go for primarily would be the blind side open eye strat.
Is that the best you can do?
Yeah, Strafe trying to initiate it there, not having quite as much luck.
essentially what you're trying to do here is go back and forth from his good side and his bad side. And what we mean by that is, in the story, Solidus loses his eyesight in one of his eyes. And I mean, I have to really give it to the devs that they like made that as part of the tactics that you can use in this fight. It's really cool. So you slash on his good side with the eye that can see, and he'll block. Then you immediately go over to his other side, his bad side where his eye isn't at, with the eye patch. You do the slashes there because he can't see, he can't block it. And you rinse repeat. And that is the strat you want that these flying peppers are going for.
Yeah. Very interesting to note is that Drixq is managing to keep his loop up quite a bit better than Strafe has. So Drixq is actually in phase 2 before Strafe does by mere seconds. So it goes to show you that even if you're performing this loop, you have to be on your game, or else if you drop this loop, it does lose you time.
Yeah, potentially you'll see Solidus skating around the roof, and that just wastes a lot of time. And we're seeing them try to continue the loop here. It's very important to maintain the loop. Dropping loop will cause him to run away and blast around the roof. And if Drixq can maintain it, oh, he got kicked to the ground. That is bad news for Drixq. And gets double slashed.
Ooh.
Very spooky, very scary gameplay. Thankfully, Solidus actually does less damage on the HD collection than earlier versions of this game.
Oh, this one's coming down to the wire.
Oh, and Strafe gets knocked off the roof. You gotta be very careful when you're on the edges there to not get knocked away. And Drixq, it looks like Drixq just barely edged out by like a few seconds there.
Yeah, indeed. Drixq takes it home with just ever so slightly better execution on the loop, and Strafe coming in just behind.
This is where we first met. I remember
Very, very
now.
close race between those two. Unfortunately
is
for
the
Stealth
day I
Edge,
met you.
he's still making his way through Arsenal. His earlier
That's
mistakes
it.
just not quite able to be justified with some of his competitors taking a death on the Ray fight, as all three of them got through it on their first go.
And Drixq getting the Rusty Veterans Race first
I
place
think I
medal.
found something
Thank you,
to pass
Chusa.
along to the future.
What?
Oh yeah,
He said all
from
living things
me and
want their
Python and a
genes
bunch of the
to
other
live
people on staff, we
Are
really
you
have to give a
talking
shout
about
out to
the
Chusa for helping us
Yeah,
run this and
but genes aren't the only thing.
improve
you
our
pass on.
broadcast.
There are too many
'cause,
things
we-
that
I don't think
are
we've
written into
had
our
a-
DNA.
like a
It's up to
four-way
us to teach that to
broadcast
our
like
children
this, and
What kind of things?
it's pretty awesome,
about
I
the
have to say.
environment, our ideas,
Yeah,
And,
absolutely.
our culture.
Of course,
Poetry,
congratulations to Drixq. That was a very tight
joy.
race and
We'll
good
tell them everything
good
together.
hustle,
Is
honestly.
that a proposal?
Throughout that final part of
This
the
is
game,
for your
Arsenal,
ears.
being able to make up some time by having that first try on Tengu 1 really did make the difference.
So, I brought it up really early in the cast, but I mentioned how most of the top PBs currently are in the 130 range. I just want to call attention to the fact that there's 9.5 minutes of credits up ahead of us right now, and after that we'll get our IGTs, which we base our leaderboards off of. Now, these guys, the first two guys who crossed the finish line here, have managed to do so within an hour 40, an hour 45 or so. Just think about that and marvel at their consistency, really. Because even though these guys are rusty, they managed a time that's probably actually better than mine on the leaderboard. So yeah, huge congratulations to Strafe and Drixq. Slade into his Solidus fight now. Looking really solid out of the gate. Drops it for a second and takes blocks a kick. Not a big deal as long as you don't get knocked down.
Yeah, it's sort of a recognition thing that if your movement's a little bit off, getting over to his bad side, it's better to just block the kick and continue the loop on from there rather than taking the kick and then having Solidus jet around the room. It's a little bit slower having to take that kick, but not as slow as him zipping around.
I'm not sure where, but Stealth Edge got his hand on the RGB6 and just took an intentional Tengu 2 from it. So something that wasn't mentioned when we explained Tengu 2 is that if you're not careful, Snake can and will shoot your intended Tengu in the head, and it kind of breaks the strat down a little bit. So you kind of be really careful about that too. It's just a lot of things that go into the Tengu 2 skip, and it can be a real hassle.
Slade going into phase 2 of the Solidus fight. Unfortunately, knocking Solidus down, you have to be careful about your attack on his good side, because if you go too far around him, you could actually hit his rear, and that's a weak point as well. So it looks simple, and it is fairly simple, but the movement execution can be a bit difficult, especially because of the camera. This camera can swing wildly around you depending on where you're at on the roof. It can be very awkward trying to maintain this loop. Certain cameras are really strange, and you can't get disoriented by the camera shifting on you.
Yeah, and there's something to be said about the simplicity versus ease argument as well. Like most of these things that look simple, well, they are simple, but they look easy, but they are not at all. And Slade, managing a very, very, very good Solidus fight, takes his third place spot.
As he's seen scenes of New York City and Drixq and Strafe are as well. So not bad at all. Not bad at all.
Absolutely. But
and now it's all on the boy Stealth Edge coming in hot from the rear. Let's see how he handles the Ray fight. I think everyone so far, Drixq, Strafe, and Slade, had no continues on Rays, so we're all rooting for Stealth to have a similarly clean Ray fight, and I know he is fully capable of it. Even though Stealth had some issues this race, you cannot underestimate this man. He's very knowledgeable about this game, and I believe he still has one of the best times for the Tinker individual level run on European Extreme.
yeah, Stealth Edge, before this past year, has put a lot of time and effort into MGS2, learning it, teaching it, and trying to break it even further. So he is definitely a force to be reckoned with, and it's just some unfortunate circumstances he found himself in that kind of pulled him further and further behind. But he is still putting up a very commendable effort. He's still in this. I mean, to be only down from raise to credits with what he put up with is not bad at all.
Can we get audio on Stealth Edge, perhaps? As long as the audio isn't like anything weird clipping or anything like that. Awesome, thank you.
Also, again, huge shout outs to both Chusa and Precious Roy for running tech on this stream. Overall, a fairly smooth experience, and it's all due to them. So, big round of applause for those guys.
Yes, and do expect more races on this channel. We are planning to have regular races on the weekends. And we'll be doing various games, including MGS2, on this channel. So do check that out in the future as we continue to develop our architecture for streaming and keep on giving you guys great Metal Gear content. And to have all four of these very experienced runners race against each other, I'm sure it was fun for them, and it was definitely fun for me to watch this with Python.
It's always a pleasure to watch the masters of the craft, even if they aren't quite up to where they may have been before. Speaking of which, Stealth Edge was just about to see our first instance of the dreaded knee missiles, but managed to get a shot off before that happened.
Yeah, if you see the animation that the ray does, it kind of like, it'll tend to back up and then sort of just sit there. That's when you need to be scared and fire as fast as you can.
Oh ho, ho! And what a surprise. Strafe said it in chat, but we have confirmation on screen now that while Drixq won in real time, the IGTs line up in Strafe's favor.
And I think the reason behind that is the continues.
It could very well be, yeah.
Could be. Something about the continues.
The in-game time doesn't. I believe it doesn't run in between when you fade out of continue and back into the game. Oh nope, that's right.
Oh, yes, Strafe
paused.
That's what it was. I think Strafe was. Maybe he was just faking the whole thing about forgetting the sniper rifle, and he just wanted to like tank the IGT a little bit.
Yeah, a brilliant strategist.
Yeah, well done. I have to say, I'm continued to be impressed by StrafeMachine's ability to strategize.
So we got the C rays up on Stealth Edge's screen, and we did actually see some knee missiles, and he managed to avoid them expertly.
Yeah, as far as I know about the knee missiles, you kind of just cartwheel and pray. You can like shoot one of the missiles out of the sky while it's flying to you, and that can help a little bit so you don't get attacked from both ends.
Yeah, one of the best ways I have found of trying to avoid this, because even then it's not even that it's not consistent at all, but just running at an angle either towards the ray and left or towards and right, but running at an angle and just cartwheeling at one of the last possible moments and just kind of, like you said, praying that it doesn't hit you.
Praying? sorry guys. If you want to hear more of my brilliant comedy, you can check out my book of Metal Gear related puns. It's called Memes of Liberty.
Oh. Oh.
Python's quietly struggling with my words. I do too, so it's no big deal.
All right, so Stealth took a burst of the cannon arm. Like I said, they have enough health to tank one of those, and from there they've got to be really careful. What they can do is kneel and recover from the bleeding, but they've also got to be very careful to dodge attacks coming their way on top of all that. So it can be difficult to find the time to do so. So at this point, Stealth's just got to really be careful and dodge like there's no tomorrow.
Yeah, if there is a moment of reprieve, you can take it. The problem is that if you take a moment to pause and stop the bleeding, you may cause more issues than if you just kept on fighting. So it's kind of a lose-lose scenario. Either you're vulnerable to anything, or you pause to stop the bleeding, and then you get hurt because you paused to stop the bleeding. And again, dodging knee missiles.
It is so scary just to even watch that.
Yeah.
But he's just dodging these things like nothing else.
Yeah, we can't emphasize enough how hard it is to dodge those. It's arguably like the scariest attack in the entire game.
Oh, definitely. And Slade getting his IGT 150-23. Respectable. Very respectable.
Sub 2.
Yeah.
Who is the one person he killed?
On Strut A roof. He had to recover from unfortunate fail on Strat.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
So Stealth Edge does manage to get out of the rays alive on his first go, despite having only a sliver of health and at least 3 knee missiles.
Yeah. Big round of applause to all 4 of them. No one had a restart on rays, and that really is impressive. Rusty or no, successfully completing rays can be a real tall order. So that really goes to show the level of experience cumulatively between all 4 of these runners that they got through that without much trouble. Though it got a little bit scary a few times with Stealth.
Scary is an understatement. Like, even if you're someone, like, okay, he may have made things look a little simple or easy for someone who may not run these games or this one in specific, but to be someone who has not only run this game, but this category in specific, let me tell you, that was terrifying just to watch. So yeah, definite big hats off to Stealth Edge for showing just how big his rocks are.
And it looks like, if all things go well, Stealth should have a little bit over a 2-hour run on the results screen.
And again, there's nothing wrong with that. I have recently raced Drixq in European Extreme, and let me clarify this before I even say it. I'm nowhere near the level that these guys were when I had just learned the European Extreme route before dropping it entirely for a few years now. So I'm definitely not at these guys' level, but I was racing Raichu and ended up getting a 230, with several continues on Rays. It was a mess. So seeing something close to 2 hours is a very respectable time. So here we are, the last sword fight with the Solidus on the rooftop of Federal Hall. Flubbing the rhythm a little bit, but he should still be okay. He should still finish out the run, no problem. He's getting a couple of the attacks we didn't see from anyone else, where Solidus climbs the wall and dive bombs down. It's really easy to avoid. It just wastes quite a lot of time compared to some of his other attacks, because he has to go all the way up and then come back down, and even then there's some invincibility frames tied to it when he does come down.
Yeah, and the hitbox for that attack, the hurt box or whatever, for him landing on the roof is actually pretty big. You have to be careful to avoid that. Thankfully, since this is the HD collection, Solidus's damage is nerfed. But if you were playing this fight on, say, the original PS2 version, Sons of Liberty, that attack could very well kill you. So typically, when you get to this point on the HD collection on European Extreme, you still have Big Boss. It's a big relief. You could still lose time, but it's very unlikely that you will lose Big Boss at this point. Besides for the unmentioned credits freeze. But that has nothing to do with the quality of your play. That's just the game.
Yeah. That's. I don't think we've still managed to nail down anything specific that could lead to that, besides maybe the disc being dirty or broken a little bit. So it's up in the air most of the time whether you're going to see credits freeze or not. So we're closing in on the last third of Solidus's health here. Stealth seems to have almost found his rhythm here.
He is bleeding, though. We have to
Oh
give
yeah.
Solid a little bit of credit. He could actually end Stealth here, but I have full faith that Stealth has the edge in this fight with his sword.
Ay. I'm sure he might. I'm sure he's got to have heard that one before.
I would hope so. I mean, that was so obvious that I kind of regretted even saying it the moment I started even enunciating one of the parts of the word. So
yeah, makes it out alive on the barest of health again.
Do you remember this?
Because why not? If you can do it once, why not just do it twice?
This is where we first met.
So
I remember now.
that is all 4 of our runners
Today I
finished,
met you.
and all with fairly respectable times.
That's it.
Like if I had seen any of these times on any one of my runs, I would be absolutely thrilled to have it. So these guys showing their chops. We've said it several times throughout, but these guys are very, very experienced, and
I think I
their
have something to
continued consistency, despite some rust,
He said
can still
all
shine
humans
through.
want their genes to
So
live.
GG's to all 4 of our runners.
Talking about the baby?
Yeah. The genes aren't the only thing you pass
absolutely agreed with that. GG to all of these runners. I know that there are
on. It's up to
plenty of
us
people in the
to
community,
change
myself included, that have been
What kind
inspired
of things?
uh,
about the
from these guys and the quality of their runs in the past. So
poetry,
just showing again
sorrow,
the quality of their
joy.
gameplay.
We'll tell them everything together.
Is that a proposal?
This is for your ears.
So I'm gonna ask Strafe if there's any words that any of the runners would like to say as we end out the broadcast, since we're just on the credits for Stealth. So I will be right back.
I stare at the stars and the sky up above and think, what am I made of? Am I full of sorrow? Am I hurt and pain? Or am I filled with love? I walk by myself on the streets below and ask every child I know, do you think tomorrow will bring sun or rain? Which one of these will show? I can't say goodbye to yesterday, my friend. I keep holding on till the end. Out of the darkness, there is no other way than the light leading to yesterday. It's there that I'll find inner peace, not war. And
Okay, so we're giving the runners a few minutes until Stealth Edge is done with his credits, and then anyone who wants to give a little of a Q&A between me and Python, we'll be doing that. So as far as things to look forward to on the channel, I think this is going to be exciting second half of the year for MGSR as a community and as the Twitch channel. So we're planning on getting a website set up. Actually, there was a website in the past, so this is, I guess, is sort of like website 2.0. So it's going to be very exciting as we go into the end of the year. Going to be developing some plans for a knowledge database for the Metal Gear series, along with more races on this channel, more Metal Gear content among the MGSR community. And I don't know about you, Python or Chusa, but that has me excited because we got a lot of passion in this community for the game, and I know that we have a lot of passion for speedrunning as well among many of the people in this community. So it should be we're shaping up to really put a huge explosion going on for the end of 2018 here.
Yeah, definitely be a thrilling time. So if you like what you've seen, please feel free. Give any one of these four runners a follow. Follow this channel if you want to see more races in the future or other sorts of events. And yeah, if you are into running any of these games, Moobot has been thankfully posting the link every now and then to our Discord server. And we've got tons of very, very helpful people ready and willing to teach just about anyone who comes walking in. And by just about, I mean literally anyone who walks in. Ask questions. We're here for you.
And on a different note, I actually want to ask you a few questions, Python, because you, my friend, actually just did a marathon run of this game yesterday, wasn't it?
It was, yes.
And how did that go? What was the marathon for? What was your time? Tell us a little bit about it.
So I just ran the quite possibly the more popular category, even though. So, long story short, European Extreme, a more prestigious category. Normal, more popular at the very moment, considering its ease of access. So I ran normal at for the online marathon Shots Fired, which is just a shooter marathon, more or less, with a decently loose definition on the shooter category. And I managed to run a 1:14:25 or so in game time on the PC. So it's a decent time, not anywhere, like, not the greatest, but definitely an acceptable run.
And how was it doing a marathon run? Because I know you've participated in the marathon that we did on this channel, so I don't know how many other marathons you've done for other speedrunning marathons, etc. So how did it feel participating in Shots Fired in that way?
So that was actually my first extra community marathon run, and leading up to it, I was very, very excited. And then as time drew near, I was kind of getting a little nervous, like, okay, I'm gonna botch something. Which, I mean, I did, but it's a marathon run, and you kind of have to expect that going in. So, but yeah, it was a very enjoyable experience the whole way through. And I have to actually commend you for your composure up on, like, the GDQ stage and keeping yourself from being tongue-tied, because that was one of the biggest things I had trouble with yesterday, was keeping things clear and concise and not tripping over myself every 2 seconds.
Yeah, it is a lot to keep in mind, especially when things move as fast as they can be, and there's quite a lot of details to the Metal Gear Solid 2 run in certain places of the plant chapter that have to be gone over.
Yeah, absolutely. It's one task, we'll call it, to try and maintain a level of informative, while also not being, like, the most dry person ever. So I was trying mostly just to strike close to that balance at the very least.
And Stealth finishing out with a 2:06:16. And that's only a 20-minute delta between first and fourth, which really, in the grand scheme of things, is not a lot, considering how long this run is and how many challenging parts there are. So congratulations again to all the runners. This was I think they've done Rusty Races before, and I think this one, I believe, went really better for everyone compared to the previous one. I think the previous one, there were deaths at Rays. So for no one to die at Rays, it's very good.
Calling attention to another stat here. I'd like to say that Strafe managed a clean kill record with not a single body to his name. So there you have it. That's MGS2 on European Extreme.
Yeah, let's see those ranks. We got to see these ranks. I think they're all going to be pigeon. I believe that would be the rank.
I think so, yeah.
All right, here we go. Eagle, pigeon. Oh,
Yeah. Oh, yep. Eagle for killing, and
yeah.
pigeon for being peaceful, even though that's a
Peaceful.
dove.
Yeah, it should be a dove, not a pigeon. The rankings in these games are all over the place because pigeon is rank 2 and easy on MGS1, and in this game it's some weird. It's peaceful European extreme, but you're not actually a big boss. So apparently, instead of being a big boss, you're a little bird that people get annoyed with. I don't get it. I don't understand the trajectory here.
And
Apparently, an eagle is worse than a pigeon.
and not to mention, eagle, the national bird of the United States of America, is an option in European extreme.
Right. There's nothing European about the eagle, all right?
I mean, it's not like we have exclusive rights to the eagle, but come on now.
There we go. There's the pigeon for Strafe, his victory pigeon. And where's the eagle? I gotta see this eagle. The copy pasted eagle. I like how Raiden's also staring at the pigeon.
Less staring and more grimacing.
Hello.
Hi, Strafe.
Sup?
Oh, we were just talking about the fact that you got pigeon, everyone else got eagle.
I got
So,
the
well-
MVP for showing the dancing guy on the Shell 2 court, alright?
All right.
But yeah, I was the only one who didn't kill someone.
Yeah.
I'm not a murderer. But yeah.
So, so Strafe, you and Drixq, you guys finished within literal seconds of each other.
I hate him.
Literally a second on speedrun with this speedrun.
So yeah,
It's like he popped in the done and I did it the same time. And the bot lagged, and then after 2 seconds, the bot fucking kicked me out of the channel. I can't get in and see my time anymore.
oh no. So you also ended up highlighting something interesting about MGS2's in-game time, in that you had a whole, we'll call it 45 seconds or so beneath Drix's time, despite the fact that he technically finished first.
Yeah, because the pause when he was going for PSG1.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I kind of have to thank you and almost praise you for that, because that's big brain 200 IQ strats right there.
Yeah. I was outplaying him without thinking, basically. Because the problem was that I actually forgot where the PSG1 is. And I asked like 3 times Edge, and Edge was doing something and explained it like stupid, you know? And he confused me even more where that thing was. And then after a while, I remembered where the PSG1 was. And then I fucked up the area and got killed because I was too late to the guy. But
Yeah. So yeah, you guys had a very it was a pretty solid race throughout. Stealth, actually, I wanted to talk to you a little bit. What were you feeling on Fat Man? I have a feeling I know the answer to this one, but how are you feeling on Fat Man specifically?
I was I don't know. It was already going bad before Fat Man, really, when I was just getting too Fat Man, and just kept going downhill in Fat Man. And I don't know. I just don't accept the defeat at that point. Really, again, I'm not sure what to say.
Well, despite maybe admitting defeat, you still put up quite
I still
the show.
carried on, but
Yeah, quite the show.
I already had races that went like over 2 hours before,
And
so I just went on and.
Yeah, it was a pleasure to watch, especially as you got down to the wire, down in both Rays and Solidus. Like, how were you intentionally baiting out those knee missiles, or were those actually naturally occurring?
Talking to.
Yeah,
Yeah,
we're
question
talking to, yeah,
Yeah.
that was a question to Stealth.
Sorry.
Oh,
Well, me, my raise. I don't know what I was just trying to get through raids, but I wasn't really trying to. I tried to go fast at the beginning, then it just fell apart, and I was just trying to beat raids. I wasn't really trying to. I wasn't really trying to bait out the new missiles or anything. I was just trying to beat raids.
Yeah,
that's the worst strat you can do.
I don't know.
Baiting out
It was-
Dude, there was a moment in my run where that Ray looked at me, and I know that look. It says, in the next second, I'm gonna shoot a knee rocket at you, and you're gonna die. And I just shat my pants. That's all I want to say.
Yeah, definitely, definitely relatable. Plywood, you got any questions for these guys?
Yeah, I do. So how long has it been since each of you did like runs of this game, and how did it feel racing against each other again? And that
Mm.
question's directed to both of you. So whoever wants to answer, go ahead.
I think one was like 4 or 5 months ago. I think I was least rusty, but like in terms of last one played.
Yeah, I think for me it has been 10 months, I think. And that was only when I did Tanker for the SSD comparison versus the new game. No, the loading trick. Yeah, the loading trick and the SSD loading times to compare them. But before that, I have no recollection of running the game. So it could very well be over a year that I ran MGS2. And to the second part of your question, I had fun doing this race. We were laughing the whole time in the beginning. Towards the end, we just concentrated a little bit, but we were still talking. But at the beginning just killed me. I was my throat is actually hurting from laughing this whole time.
And all four of you have been long time runners and friends for some time,
Oh yeah.
united by your enjoyment of Metal Gear. What do you think the future looks like for the Metal Gear speedrunning community from your perspective after having a nice fun race?
I mean, on my part, I still don't know whether I'm gonna go back to MGS2, but I'm somewhat relieved to take off to actually have done this race, because now Drixq and Edge can play the game, because we said that Rusty race nobody's gonna practice, and we're gonna do it that way because this is actually our second Rusty race. That might be the reason why I actually don't remember when I last ran this game. It was last year. Now I remember because last year we did another Rusty race. But for the future, I hope that people can learn from this race, from the Rusty race. such as you can see, we are all like long time runners, and even after a year, our muscle memory and the precision in some of the areas are still there. And once you learn the game, doesn't matter the difficulty, you after you learned it, you know what to do. It all comes down how calm you are. If you let the game get to you after failing like 1,000 attempts or something like that. So my message is, if you don't have fun running the game, take a break like we did. We all four of us got burned by this game by playing it too much, and we took a nice break. And the first Rusty race was funny as well, and this one was even funnier. But I think we can push this game even further on the highest difficulty at least. But yeah, to get to my point, have fun. Don't forget to have fun. Don't care about the timer as much as you should. And yeah.
Well, thank you for that. I think those are good words to live by. That it's important to have fun and not get burned out on the game, because I know people love to get really into it. As far as, speedrunning is a rabbit hole, and there's a lot to like look into uh, for a game like this. All the different rooms and all the various approaches you can take. And it was really interesting seeing all four of you playing at the same time, to see how each of you were playing things similarly and how people are doing things a little bit differently. And Python, you got any further questions? I think I'm feeling pretty good about this. I think this race went better than the previous Rusty race for all of you. None of you had a death at Rays, and it looked like all of you were having a good time out there.
Time wise, I think it was actually worse, but fun wise, a bit better.
Yeah, I can agree on that one.
Nice. It's really good. And to everyone watching, I think Strafe and Stealth would agree with me here. I'm fairly new to the community. I haven't been here as long as Stealth or Strafe have, but getting to the point where you're able to run this game at this level, uh, it seems very scary and daunting at first, but it really is just something you have to take one step at a time, and you can get to that point as well. And that is just a matter of practice and getting to know people who can pass on knowledge to you as well. Would you agree with me there, fellas?
Yes, like I've been helping out ever like since 2015, 2016, ever that I created the Discord server, and everyone who came by, I tried to help a lot of people because I know for a fact that people don't want to bother other people asking questions. How is this strut done? How is this area done? Why is this not working? And that's why I went on a mission to watch every single runner when it comes to MGS2, 3, 4, because those are my specialties. Even in MGS1, because Slade taught me a lot of things when it comes to MGS1. All bosses on the PlayStation 1 or PlayStation 2, because they're fairly similar to it. And yeah, I tried my best to join every stream. And if they had questions, I answered them, and I didn't backseat as long as they didn't want it. So if they knew me Most of the runners actually know me, so nobody's bothered if I give a tip here and there. But yeah, the upcoming projects is probably the best for newcomers, and we are actually creating a website with a wiki page. So look forward. And yeah, that's it from me.
Yeah, and to sort of excuse me, to sort of add on to that, personally, I would definitely agree that everyone in this community does a fantastic bang up job of passing on knowledge, because I remember when I was first starting to stream attempts, I didn't know who any of these guys were. I didn't have any idea who Stealth Edge was, didn't know a thing about StrafeMachine. I didn't know, Drixq. I had heard Slade in passing once or twice, but I didn't really know him. So when I first started streaming attempts, I had actually Stealth Edge came into my chat and helped me out tons, literally just. If there's one person I could probably credit for building me as a speedrunner, it would probably be Stealth Edge. And to see him up on the stream here, racing against other fairly legendary names in the community, now that I've actually gotten a chance to know them and meet them and talk with them, it's something special.
Couldn't agree more, man.
Are you here to make us cry?
Yeah, we're here to just be super, super sappy. But hey, I think that's part of the reason of a rusty race, right? It's, you're trying to bring back what was in the past to now, and showing everyone here who watched here, say, hey, this can be you if you're interested in it, and whether you just like watching or you want to learn one of these games, we're here to help. So I think with that, on that note, I think we're going to close the broadcast. So from StrafeMachine, Stealth Edge, Pythonicus, Chusa, MGS Slade, Drixq, and myself, thank you all for watching this broadcast of the MGS2 European Extreme Rusty Veteran Race. The winner is someone won. I am not going to say who. Whoever won knows that they won.
Not Drixq won, actually. Drixq won by time, but I won the hearts for showing the dancing guy.
Yeah, I was very happy to see that. I immediately thought of the clip of you playing that to Thriller.
I was actually going to play that song. But yeah.
With that, I'm gonna sign out. We will be back soon, TM, with more broadcasts from this channel, showcasing the MGSR community. So stay tuned. Keep your ears to the ground for more exciting announcements from the community and the channel. Until next time, big boss salute to you.